Welcome everyone to another Marketing Momentum with Charles and Deborah. I'm sorry, Charles. I just about said Web Tools TV. Okay, it's a long
That's okay.
week when I don't know what show I'm
Yeah,
on.
right on. Hi,
Hi,
everybody. Hi,
Charles.
Deb.
So last week, if you guys saw it, we tried. Okay, this is really bugging me because last night I was doing this too. There must be something that I don't know how to do my own hair or purple hair that pops up. But anyway, last night I actually talked to Alex about the same topic, and last week Charles and I tried our first Blab for Marketing Momentum. And I think, Charles, it was your first Blab. It was my second, which isn't
Right.
really saying a whole lot. We were basically newbies.
Yeah.
And we had a gentleman, and I wish I could remember his last name, Daryl. Okay,
Daryl or Darren. Yeah, I can't remember which one. I have to go to Twitter.
Right. And he popped on and educated us a little bit. Then last night, same top. I don't know, I'm on this Blab theme. Asked Alex to share his thoughts. So I'm curious now, Charles, after you've had a chance to try Blab, what do you think? And especially in the context of comparing it, for example, to Google Hangouts.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I guess I was trying to think of what would it help me do, right? What could it help me do that maybe Hangouts could not do? And it is more personal, right? So when you're on there and people see you and you're a little more transparent, my feeling was that it was definitely conversational. It was definitely about engagement, right? And so you couldn't help but engage. The spontaneity is good if spontaneity matters to help you, right? If spontaneity in a presentation doesn't help you to either make the sale or to be more accessible, then I don't know in that way. But I think what it does is it helps. To me, it's a kind of a branding thing, right? And that's, again, this is somebody who saw it once, that it makes me more real to people. It's a little more. You're a little more exposed.
I like that. Where you said real, exposed, transparent. I know, like the first time I did that, it was probably, which was again only an hour before that, it was more uncomfortable because I realized that I couldn't, and you and I are talking, if I have to wipe my nose or something, I can pop up like an overlay from the presets on Hangout and nobody sees me touching my nose. Or I should have done that as I'm playing with my hair or
Right.
whatever it is. And there it was like, oh goodness, don't like stop smiling, paste that smile on, because you're not even, not only, it's two things. Not only do you not have the opportunity to put something over the screen or post-it note over the camera. Well, I guess you could put a post-it note, but you'd end up being a big square. But that's the other part of it, is you're right in the foreground like Hollywood squares, except without the focus on one square. And so I was watching it later and I thought, oh no, I stopped smiling there. Do I look like I'm scowling? It just seems like you are on camera completely and all the way through.
I was?
Well, okay, as far as the replay, and again, I'm only 2 blabs in, so I may be blabbing like a bunch of garbage. I don't know, but I think it comes out as 4 squares. Now I got to go back and watch it and see if I might be wrong in that. But it almost feels too transparent. Maybe I'm too used to Google Hangout, but it also starts right away. So even though you could start the recording after for those of you that have not been on a Social Web Cafe interview or anything that we produce, we have a green room period where you can make sure I was going to say your tie is fixed. I don't wear a tie. I don't know. All that stuff before you actually go live, and any last minute, hey, what are we talking about? That kind of thing. You don't have that in Blab. You're just right there.
Yeah. Like I said, I think, I'm not ready to say it's the next best thing for me. I think it has to be, it has to matter. You know how they say about like the key thing about a unique selling proposition is that whatever you say your unique selling proposition is, it has to really matter to the customer, right? And so because otherwise it's just a tagline, it's something you say about yourself, which if even if it's true, if that thing doesn't matter to the customer, then it's a tagline, it's not USP. And that's kind of the way I feel about Blab, in that if it matters to the customer that they really want to know me, right? They really want to see me, and it matters for them to buy, then yeah, right. I'm with it, and I can kind of adjust to it. And so what I've got to see is, and you know what's going to happen, right? Somebody's going to come and they're going to say, Jake Johnson was down on his luck and he made $755 million on Blab, right? And then that's when everybody's going to come to Blab. But but as far as being a pioneer and in what I do, right, in kind of what I do right now, I have to see it, and I got to conceptualize how it's going to help me to sell more. Now, here's who I think it could help sell. Help.
Oh, goody. I'm excited for the list. Okay. I'm all ears.
Okay. So you are your local guy, your or gal, your local guy, gal. And so you're selling, I don't know, you're selling services. You could be a contractor, you could be, tradesperson, whatever it is that you sell. And what happens is, even if I find you online, right, I can't make the connection. I don't know. You even, let's say you could be binded, licensed, and all that, but house as a tradesperson, and you've had tradespeople in your house before, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't. You could be licensed and bonded. I just don't. The way you come to my house, I don't like the way you talk. I don't like the way you present. I just, okay, yes, fix it and leave.
Right, right.
But if I can meet you first, right, and you can kind of, okay, well, what's the problem, Charles? And then I kind of feel you, right? Okay, this is okay. I like this guy, even though he might not have been in the plumbing trade 18 years like the other guy, but I like you. So why don't you come? I'll call. Yeah. So in that way, I think that kind of scenario helps that person sell themselves, helps some person sell that service, helps me, the customer, because what's important to me more than the money, because I got to pay somebody $75 an hour anyway. So I have to be comfortable that you're going to be the kind of person. I have a wife and 2 daughters. So I don't want you in here cussing. I don't want you in here doing all that stuff. I want to see that you're like my kind of people. Yes, you've got the job. So that's the way I see it.
That makes a lot of sense. I hadn't even thought of that. Although when you were telling the story, I thought of one time. Now, Charles, you know that I love to talk. I can talk. When I go to get my nails done, I go to get my hair done. No, not the purple hair, the real hair. I love, that's part of it. When I pick out a beauty, whatever you call, I keep saying beautician. I know that's a really old term, stylist, whatever term you want to use.
Yeah.
I pick out somebody that I can talk to that's not just about doing the beauty things, but somebody I can really relate to. But there was one time I took a cab. It was from work. I was tired. And you know what? It's rare, but I did not want to talk. I did not feel like talking. And I thought that most cab drivers kind of feel people out. So in fact, I thought it was more on the other side where they don't want to talk, but it's like feel them out and say, all right, if this one person wants to talk, I'll talk because it's a bigger tip. This guy would not stop trying to initiate. He could not read people because I didn't want to be rude and say, I don't want to talk to you. And it wasn't about me. I just wanted to sit back and just chill on the way to LAX. And so that would be, I don't know if cab drivers are going to use Blab, but that would be an area. If I saw a cab driver on Blab and I could relate whether that means I want to talk or don't want to talk and just felt like this guy gets me. Yeah. You know what? If he's running the from work to LAX, I would call him, whatever it is. I want that cab driver.
Right. Or Uber guy. Right? Uber or Lyft. I mean, that to me, it would be perfect for those people because again, before I don't want you to be the one to get the call if you're a weirdo, right? I want you, I'll whatever the Uber fare is, what it is. I got to pay it anyway. I want to be in somebody's car that, that doesn't mind putting on the station I want to put on. It doesn't mind doing all that stuff for me since I got to pay them anyway. So I can see it for service people. And I guess if I had it could help an information product seller in that, when you buy information product, you're buying you're blind a little bit blind. And so now the live part, of course, the leverage, you leave leverage if you have to be live in order to make every dime that you make, right? So I don't want to be on camera in order to sell it to you. That being said, if I put a recording up and it's me and you get to know me a little bit. But I could do that with Google Hangouts, I guess, or I could do that with a video. But if I'm a little more spontaneous, a little more live, you get to know me, and that helps you to make the buy. You know,
the credibility and the authority, and that's, you know, after we did the Blab, okay, for the first, I probably wrote you a Skype message, Charles, and I feel like a hypocrite because it's like, oh yeah, we need to do this. Like I was on, and we've talked about this before. I'm an extrovert, so I'm drawing that energy from people, and so right away it's like, this is what we need to do. And then as I sat there, I thought, I actually really like what we do here with the Hangouts, with the green room, with the, you know, if we don't have time, I shouldn't share these secrets with people, but if you and I don't have time to connect, we can for 30 seconds. Hey, how about this topic? Oh, okay. Let's.
right.
All right, guys. Right. That's the secret sauce, marketing momentum. But we can't. I don't want to do that. It just sounds weird at the beginning of the Blab. Oh, hey, Charles. I mean, it does and it doesn't. For as organized as we've been, it sounds weird to me to say, well, Charles, do you want to talk about this? And also naming the Blab. If we haven't decided what we're doing until we're right there, I guess, other than people watching this now as I state it, I don't want that to be a part of every single Blab. But we sure got a lot of people that came in, even though the Blab wasn't really long. And I like like you were saying, as far as that credibility for an information product, I can see the value. And I was rethinking. I haven't asked you, Charles, what you want to do with marketing momentum. I'm leaning towards continuing what we're doing. But I was thinking on the Blab, it might be helpful, for example, I run Social Cafe, Twitter chat. And this is a long explanation, I'll make short, but Twitter chats aren't quite the thing anymore. But
they're not. And see, that was before, and we all know how much I like Twitter. But go ahead.
Oh, yeah. And I was thinking that I'm like, okay, I'm not going to go full teeth.
Yes, exactly.
But you know, I was talking. There's Con Sweeney helps me with the Twitter chat, and he's getting into Blab with another group he's in, the whole thing. But I thought that is a way if you switch it, because I started doing a 30-minute Twitter chat and then a Hangout. I'm like, why not switch it? But then instead of the Hangout, you do a Blab for 30 minutes. And then the Twitter chat, then you can start pulling people over saying, hey, we were chatting here. And especially for those of you who do not want to be on camera, now we can go chat about it in Twitter chat. And it might be a great way to save time for a Twitter chat rather than spending 5 hours promoting it. You could technically probably do it with 30 minutes live on Blab because people are so into Blab.
You know, I guess, you know, it's going to be the kind of thing where you have to kind of, you and I probably both know, and I don't know her personally. I've seen her around. Her name is Kim someone. I think it might be Kim Beasley. I can't remember what her name is.
Not to ask him.
She started out with Hangouts kind of at the very beginning, and now she's consulting with people on them. Kind of blew up over Hangouts, and she committed early, right? So she got off a webinar. She just focused her attention on Hangouts, and then when Hangouts got to be Hangouts, then she was already there because she had been kind of focusing on that. So I guess what's going to happen is you're probably going to have like these people who are going to be the evangelists, right? They're going to be the people who are going to be the Blab people, and then they're going to be
Blabbers?
some people Blabbists. And then they're going to be those people who are going to want to go and sort of learn from them in order to go and provide it as a service or whatever they provide. And then there's going to be the rest of the population who kind of get into it. I don't know that Hangouts is going to go anyplace. I do think that they do have to kind of make this into a product that they decide they want to improve. You know, it's starting to feel like old technology, even though, I mean, old is relative. It feels old when you look at all the new applications. You've got Periscope. We've talked about Meerkat and Periscope and all these other things. And I think all of them pinch off a little bit, and their basis in some way, shape, or form is either you haven't heard of Google Hangouts or we are everything they're not, right? And so at some point, if they're gonna continue with this, and I love the platform, I love Google Hangouts, they're gonna have to do something to it to make it not just to improve the level of quality, right? They're gonna have to do something to it to make it a product that is undergoing this continuous improvement.
Well, and especially since they've dropped so many products. I mean, I was a what do you call it, Google girl or whatever for longer than many of my peers. I heard so much complaining about Google, and you know, I would say, hey, you have a valid point, but I'm still hanging in there with Google. And and I know I have to say that because I'm on, on their platform. No, I mean
Right.
that sincerely. But this summer, when they restructured, and it's like, hey, we're devoted to the pictures and to Google Hangout. We're just G Plus Fit, whatever it was. As far as these are the services and those collections. I know I've mentioned this before. The collections, which still exist in G Plus, but they also launched them in YouTube. And I think it was 2 weeks the day. They said, oh, never mind, we're not doing this. I think that was the day, and I could feel it. And I thought, I don't want to discontinue being that support person, but I could feel it where it's like, Google, I can't, this is too much. I can't take getting excited about new products.
Right.
And I get it. If it disappears in 2 years, I get it. We tried it. It didn't work. But 2 weeks is just, why do I bother even trusting you? I think that's the thing, is it hit the trust level.
Mm-hmm. And at some point, somebody has to make some money from this. So
Right.
whether or not, I think Blab, Periscope, they're all really cool. If they're going to play in that pond, my guess is, right, we both know how this works from I mean, let's just, if I'm just looking at the income statement and the balance sheet, somebody's got to get something at some point. And having a free service, you just can't continue to grow a company based on the numbers of people. At some point, you got to figure out a revenue model. I don't think these companies, in my opinion, I don't know, haven't looked at their balance sheet, prospectus, anything like that. I don't think they figured out a revenue model that I can see, and they're just trying to grow their user base. They're still competing with this big monster called Google, who has a revenue model, perfect or imperfect as it is. They figured out how to make money. They're probably not making as much as they could, but they have the ability to wait these guys out and to incorporate the stuff that they're doing if they feel like they need to. So it'll be interesting to see if they can play in this pond, or hey, if somebody came to us and said, hey, we want to buy marketing momentum, you could say, I'm not selling out to the big corporate giant. If they write a big enough check,
$500,000 sold. There you go.
Exactly,
Charles,
sold.
you got 250. I got 250. We're done.
Like, how much? And when do you send it? So I think, as is the case with these technologies, I don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. But if they get too good, they're going to get somebody's going to go to somebody and make an offer, especially if they don't have a revenue model.
That's a good point, because we've seen it time. I mean, it's pretty predictable. I don't know if I can say 100%. I don't have the percentages, but you're right. Somewhere money comes into the mix. And now I'm starting to wonder, was this just somebody with some extra money investment? Hey, let's try this and let's see if we get all these people following us, whatever, in this big user base. But sometime, even if that's what they're doing, and I'm not trying to profile, although that's what I do in my education. But as far as if it's someone that has a lot of money, we're doing it for fun, that type usually at some point says, okay, I'm kind of bored with, I got all these users, it's great, I've gotten to the top, but now what do I do? I'm kind of bored. And hey, I can make some money. So, and no, I'm not specifically pointing that at Twitter / Periscope, Meerkat, Blab, whatever, but I agree with you, Charles. At some point, there's going to be a transition.
Yeah, and then do you, as a user, do I like you as much when you monetize, right? At some point, yeah, and it seems like one of the, I don't know how much money they're making. Pinterest changed over, and they did some things differently, and then they started to monetize, and it seems as if their following still likes them just as much, right? Even though, and Twitter, for all intents and purposes, they're still at it. I don't know if they're making money or not at all, and I don't know if they've done a good job of monetizing because of just the nature of it, right? So, the question will be, when they bring the revenue model and they ask somebody to pay, or somebody to watch ads, or they stick an ad down someplace, are people still going to love it the same way?
It's a good point, because I mean, it makes sense if Google keeps the Hangouts, because they're tied in really well with YouTube. And I don't personally add ads, but that incentive where it's like, add the ads, and now they get a piece of it too. But I mean, they've got ads going all over the place anyway. So I can see where, okay, great. I'll wait. I'm following my purple hair and saying cartoon, great. It makes sense that Hangouts are not likely to go away. And now that I've said that, they'll go away tomorrow. But when you look at Blab, and I'm picturing this ad, like you said, Charles, if an ad pops up like the YouTube across the bottom, if you've got 4 squares, you're going like halfway across someone's face. It's like that. I could see where the bottom two people on the Blab would not appreciate
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
an ad going across there. Yeah, that probably wouldn't be real cool.
No, that's right.
That's interesting. Talking to Alex last night, he went on a, I don't know if I should call it a rant, although he called it a rant last night, but he was talking about the new trend. And somebody mentioned it to me this morning too. We're trying to broadcast on all the channels, Meerkat, Periscope. I don't know if you can do Periscope and Meerkat. Yeah, I guess if you have two devices. I don't know if they're putting Hangout in the mix, but it's like, let's be on Blab, Periscope, Meerkat all at once. And Alex made an excellent point. He even did the eye roll and everything. Where he said, you're holding up this device in front of you. It looks like I'm punching someone. I don't mean that, but I don't have a device to demonstrate. But that means that if I'm watching you, Charles, on Blab, and you're trying to do a Meerkat and you're getting a shot of your face, I'm not seeing your face. I'm seeing the back of your device.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, okay, is that gonna, he said it was cool the first 3 times and then he was over it on seeing that because he's tired of watching whatever he's watching, whether it's Blab, and not seeing the face, just seeing, I mean, you might as well use a sticky note.
Yeah. And I like I said, I mean, it's got to really matter to the customer. So if it matters to them, if I have a bunch of people that and they haven't done this, a bunch of people say, Charles, we're on Meerkat and you're never on there. Will you please come on? You know, they're like, okay, well, I got to get on Meerkat because these people want me to be on there. And, you know, it really comes back down to, at some point, you know, whether you're a marketer or whether or not you're selling, you know, widgets or soap or whatever you're selling.
Sorry, I'm not picking soap makers, but
no, I mean, really, I mean, well, I mean, my wife and daughters, they're always buying soap from, what is it, Bath and Body Works. So I'm definitely not, I have nothing against soap. We're all about soap in this family, right? And so, at some point, you have to have something where somebody's looking for you for it. And so, unless you have people who are kind of stationed doing all these things and surrounding you by pushing out your message, I don't know, man, being one person, and a lot of us are solo business owners. A lot of us are solo content creators.
it's a lot.
It's a lot. And you do have to spend some time making the stuff that's of quality, right? You still have to make, let's say you did no editing. Let's say you did no, you know, post-processing. What's on the video or what's in the recording has to be good, right? It's just, I mean, and that takes, because if it's Blab or Meerkat or whatever the case, if it's like just boring, okay, I might come see you twice on Blab, but I'm not coming to you third time. I'm not coming the third time.
Exactly.
And so that's my feeling about it. It's another avenue if somebody's looking for me.
Well, and you make a good point as far as, you know, your audience, because I was thinking with the example, let's say that you have the device up and you're recording for Meerkat and you have 10,000 Meerkat followers are looking for you. Let's say you have 2 followers on Blab, then maybe you don't care if the people viewing you on Blab see the back of your device, because it doesn't really matter. Now you're just extending your reach. Except, again, if we go back to what you're describing as far as how many times you're going to watch that, keep in mind that people may not come back to Blab. So maybe you're thinking that you're extending your reach, but if they keep seeing the back of the device instead of your face, they might not come back. You may have actually hurt yourself instead of extending your reach.
Yeah. I think what's going to happen is we're going to see, as there is the case now, and maybe this is a good thing, right? And this is part of what I think the maybe the internet marketing, all these things they produce. There are going to be these people, like I said, maybe one tier below your evangelists, who sort of know the platform and who are going to be able to go to this Uber. You know, I saw there's an Uber driver that's making $252,000 a year. Well, maybe this consultant goes to Uber guy and says, well, you're making 252. I can probably crank that up to 300,000 if you let me do some of this stuff for you. And so those are the kinds of things I'm pretty sure will happen, right? And those are good things to me, because I mean, that's the industry that we're in. People who can kind of figure out these tools, and then to go to entrepreneurs, solo people like you and I, and say, okay, well let me handle Meerkat for you, because I'm looking at the audience. I'll handle the Meerkat portion, and I will get you X number of this if you pay me this. To me, that's a win.
That's a good one. I like that. See, now any of you watching this, here's a business idea for you. There you go. Charles just gave you a freebie. And speaking of business, okay, this isn't the best segue, but I do have one final question for you, Charles. May I ask you something about Webinar Fusion Pro?
Sure.
Because Webinar Fusion Pro is, okay, this is going to show the last time I logged in. I'm embarrassed, right? Blush, but it's still based on Google Hangouts, correct?
It is currently, that's right.
Okay, are they moving towards their own platform?
The plan is to go proprietary, right? Okay. Just because of you can depend, is pretty much what we were talking about. Google's in charge, right, to some degree, and so you just can't do that long term and have a sustainable platform. So the, excuse me, please, the plan is to kind of move proprietary and away from that technology.
Which is a good plan. When I first signed up for Webinar Fusion Pro, and I feel like it must have been before the whole collections thing, because I thought, no, don't, please base this, I'm Hangout Queen, base this on Hangouts. I wanted to be Hangouts forever. And then when I had that moment where it was like, Google, I don't know about this. I don't know if I can trust you. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, thank God Webinar Fusion Pro is planning on moving beyond. Because like you said, I mean, the whole platform, it's like, and I'm not saying, I said the F word. The F word meaning fail, not the F word meaning that one. But I mean, it's like the next day, you're not in a good place if Google Hangouts just went away today, as far as the Webinar Fusion Pro.
And they can. I mean, they can announce tomorrow, October 30th, we're shutting this thing down. And it's not a whole lot you could really.
Sorry, Charles is voicing his discomfort with Google Hangouts going away.
He's not very comfortable with it himself.
No, it's not.
It's evidence, proof in the pudding, right
exactly. There. And with that, as our producer Mike comes to tell our teammates to be quiet. Maybe this is a good time to make a segue.
You got spontaneity too. You got spontaneity. You don't need Blab.
You might not have this Blab account, but he's right here with us. Well, thank you, Charles. This has been delightful, and I think there's a lot of really helpful information. I mean, hey, all you Blab users, go out and enjoy it to your heart's content. I'm not faulting you at all. I applaud you, in fact. But just some other things to think about, and especially from the great Charles. I am calling you great because, Charles, you make me think. So I love your insights and your feedback. That's
thank
great.
you.
So thank you so much. And thanks all for tuning in, and we will see you same time, same place next week on Marketing Momentum with Charles and Deborah.
Right. Bye-bye, Deb. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.